正解。
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 104, Homicide. Finally the Jing family came down to the Ding capital after a few days. As a small family from Suzhou, the Jing family had perfectly learned the villain's mouth. After the Jing family's husband and wife were aware of Jing Chuchu's and Shen Yuan's matter, they first cried in anguish of their daughter's bitter life before making a ruckus and threatened to report to the authorities for Shen Yuan to provide an answer, and they even did not agree to an engagement. On the surface it was as such, but everyone was well aware that the Jing family's husband and wife had gotten an advantage, and demonstrated their cleverness as they wanted to show that Shen Yuan married Jing Chuchu willingly. If one were not a family, one would not enter the family household. Old Shen Furen was unreasonable for so many years in the residence, and her family's rampant overbearingness was exactly the same as hers. After a few moments of contesting, she was actually on the disadvantageous position, and had to agree to bringing Jing Chuchu into the family with a palanquin with 8 carriers during the wedding, and had to compensate with a large sum of dowry. Old Shen Furen was like having to eat a bitter gourd and be unable to speak about the bitterness, and every day she had to look at the Jing family's husbands and wives' faces. This made her so angry that her eyes and mouth twitched, almost leading to a stroke. In a burst of anger, she hid herself in Rongjing Ting and did not see anyone. The Jing family took the casual action for a warrant to give commands. Thus in a few days' time all the commoners in the Ding capital knew that Shen Yuan would be marrying Jing Chuchu from Suzhou. The commoners were not aware of the secrets during the family banquet in the Shen residence, so the rumors outside were only that Shen Yuan loved Jing Chuchu's gentleness and beauty and was sincerely treating her well. The Jing family was hard at work portraying Jing Chuchu as a moving beauty, but one do not know how others would see it, as it made Shen Yuan seem extremely oppressive. In the minister's residence, Sun Kainan looked at the invitation in his hand and crumbled it into a ball before throwing it into the paper basket. "Shen Yuan, that bastard," he said hatefully. It was not easy to meet a female that he fancied, and after seeing so much of the Ding capital's females, Suzhou's Jing Chuchu was particularly different. There was never once a female that had slipped out from his grasp after he had taken a fancy, and in addition he had played it big and spent especially more effort on Jing Chuchu. He had never thought that at the end Shen Yuan benefited at his expense. A young servant cautiously said, "It is also a misunderstanding that caused Jing young lady and second Shen young master to have no alternatives." One would not care what rumors were spreading out among the commoners, as the noble families knew what was going on. Sun Kainan already heard everything about what happened in the Shen family banquet. His face darkened. Jing Chuchu, that slut, received this young master's things and played with this young master. Sun Kainan was filled with displeasure, even though he had seen a lot of females like Jing Chuchu. As long as money and benefits were given, they would be won over easily. As for the matter of the Shen residence banquet, one feared that it involved Jing Chuchu too. That woman accepted his things at one side and also schemed to marry to the Shen family at the other side. For Sun Kainan, the most humiliating thing was to be played by a female. But now, what does young master intend to do? The young servant asked. Jing young lady's invitation should be accepted or not? Sun Kainan lowered his head and looked at the invitation in his hand. There was a especially light fragrance on the invitation, like the scent of a female. Just like Jing Chuchu's harmless appearance was always hiding a restless heart. Even if she was about to marry another, she still came over to tease him one last time. Of course, except. Sun Kainan laughed. This young master had given her so much money and have yet to sleep with her. One is already not happy that Shen Yuan was quick-footed and climbed up first. How can one not sleep once? He stared at the young servant. Go and respond to the invitation. Shen Yuan was often not in the residence these days, and no matter what mischief the Jing family was up to, he rarely appeared. But the one suffering the most was Chen Rikayu, as she needed to deal with old Shen Furen's anger, and also to satisfy the greedy appetite of the Jing family. The money in the residence had gotten a lot less and there was only out but no in, making one worried when seeing it. Why is Furen so worried these days? Xinwan returned back from court and asked when he saw her. Chen Rikyu reluctantly smiled, and since she did not want to talk about money with Xinwan, she then said, "The Jing family keep causing chaos in the residence, thus it is inevitable to worry about it." Xinwan also sighed, "Mother this time really suffered a double loss after trying to trick the enemy, and Yuan was caught in the hind legs." Everyone in the Shen residence knew clearly what had happened between Shen Yuan and Jing Chuchu. As to what happened at that time, the third household chose to sit on top of the mountain to watch the tigers fight. At least compared to Shen Yuan, the eldest household was more fearful. But unfortunately the eldest household came out of it perfectly fine, and the ones who were in misfortune was the second household, and now even brought them worries. "These days are also hard for you," Chen Rikyu said gently. "You will also be pointed out when something happens in the Shen family." Naturally the nobility circles would be like watching a joke when the residence is in such chaos. Shenzhen was a coarse person and was not afraid of others pointing at him, but Xinwan was focused on his name, so these days it would most likely not have been easy for him. Xinwan held Chen Rikyu's hand and shook his head. "This is nothing. It is just that when you marry Jing Chuchu, if one were to mutually help one another in official circles in the future, it would be troublesome." He sighed. Originally Yuan was the one with the most expectations. Hearing that, Chen Rikyu's heart somewhat panicked. Xinwan did not have his own son, so in the next generation of the Shen residence, only Shen Yuan could take up the heavy load. The most important thing in the officialdom was a nepotistic relationship, and if Shen Yuan married a young lady of an official family in the future, then Xinwan's road in court would be much easier. But now by marrying to Jing Chuchu, it was tantamount to cutting off any future of growing wings. Chen Rikyu lowered her head and said, "Who knows? Now even fifth maiden is that powerful. Eldest brother and eldest Sao entire family really make things difficult for others. One need not worry about it." Seeing Chen Rikyu worry, Xinwan patted her shoulders. "Yuan is not an ordinary person. Since little five have schemed Yuan will definitely get it back. There will be times when eldest brother and eldest Sao are also helpless." Husband's meaning is. Chen Rikyu's heart moved. "Yuan is being strange recently," Xinwan said softly. "One feels that something is about to happen." In the western courtyard, Shen Miao put down the book in her hand and frowned. "What does Shen Yuan want to do?" Mo King said softly. "Young lady let this subordinate to guard Bao Xianglu for a long time, now, continue." Shen Miao interrupted his words and Mo King's face suddenly collapsed. After some thoughts he said again, "But Gentleman Pei from Guanwentang has appeared. Does young lady have any additional instructions?" It had been for all this time that Mo King did not know why Shen Miao let him go to Bao Xianglu to seal Yu Ying. That day when he left and inadvertently saw Pei Ling, Mo King did not know why, but he had the feeling that Shen Miao let him go and seal Yu Ying and Bao Xianglu because she knew sincerely that Pei Ling would appear. Every single thing that Shen Miao made him do, all had her own intentions, but this time when she heard that Pei Ling had appeared, Shen Miao did not say anything at all. "Nothing," Shen Miao said, "just to your task well." Did not expect that Gentleman Pei, who looks like an upstanding person, would also go to Bao Xianglu kind of place. Gu Yu blinked, "Really does not look like one." After pausing, she added another sentence, "Guard Mo also do not look like." Mo King's face started to be frantic. Mo King, other than going to Bao Xianglu these days, do occasionally pay attention to the movements of Shen Yuan in the eastern courtyards. Shen Miao said. She did not know why, but Shen Yuan made her feel somewhat uneasy. Mo King complied, and after he left, Jings asked, "Young lady, will second young master still have any bad intentions?" "Very strange," Shen Miao said. After the thing with the Jing family happened, Shen Yuan did not investigate the course of the day and also did not do anything to block it. Of course Jing Chuchu had to marry Shen Yuan, but if Shen Yuan used other methods, most likely it could be dragged on. But Shen Yuan did not even drag it at all. Thus this could only say that he had a more important thing to do. Shen Miao really could not think of any matter that was more important. Shen Miao was unable to snoop into what Shen Yuan was scheming, as he was often not in the Shen residence. Young lady need not worry. That is right. Jing suddenly thought about something. Tao Yuan said that a young lady sent a message to that side and had received a reply, so she will go for the appointment tomorrow. Shen Miao's eyes brightened. Very good. Shen Yuan made her feel uneasy, so it was better that some things happened as soon as possible. They were discussing matters here and in the pavilion of Feng's Yan pawn shop. There were people also talking about this matter. Shen Yuan had already collected Xin Zin's evidences and presented them to Fu Ziyu. Ji Yushu said. 3 days later Fu Ziyu would have properly arranged it and report them to the emperor. At that time, it would be hard for the Shen family to escape from this calamity, defying a monarch's order, agreeing overtly but opposing in secret. When this matter is dug out, the lightest punishment is to be stripped of from one's armor and returned to civilian life. Zhao Yang said, this Shen Yuan of the Shen family have a little ability to be able to find such a thing back. Was it not mentioned? Ji Yushu was somewhat impatient. Shen Yuan had been dealing with Shen Zin for so many years, and all the years of scheming and planning finally became handy, and now he would be able to raise up in the ranks and fortune. But it is a shame it was rushed. If he had dug for 2 more years, the eldest household of the Shen family would have been beheaded. So it is saying that Fu Ziyu really have a good eye. Zhao Yang said thoughtfully. Shen Zin's power is too great, thus there are many people who want to deal with him. The most important thing is that the imperial family of Mingqi are happy to see that, and they would step on Shen Zin when he is out of luck. So what can be done now? Ji Yushu's head ached. Shen Yuan is one who know how to endure silently, and that Fu Ziyu is also one. The Shen young lady will be so upset when the eldest household of the Shen family fall into misfortune. You still think of Shen Miao? Zhao Yang rolled his eyes. If it was not Shen Miao who made he be caught with the cousin on bed, Shen Yuan would not have taken such quick actions. With his character, he would have tolerated for 2 more years before cleanly sweeping the Shen family off, and was only forced by Shen Miao to bring forward his plans. Zhao Yang touched his chin, with the hate Shen Yuan feel towards Shen Miao. This time he would not let Shen Miao off easily. Perhaps the rest of the people in the eldest household of the Shen family might be able to keep their lives, but Shen Miao's fate would definitely be miserable. Ji Yushu anxiously scratched his ears. Then what to do? Shen Yuan, that scoundrel, would not resort to low tricks against Shen young lady. He even schemed against his own eldest beau, so his heart is certainly black. Do not worry. Zhao Yang said unhurriedly. Shen Yuan's heart is black, but Shen Miao is not easy to deal with. This time I am really curious what moves will Shen Miao take to turn the tide. With her previous action of exterminating the entire household of Prince Yuan still managed to retreat safely, one feel that this time she would not be waiting to be captured with her hands tied. Shen young lady is resourceful and full of stratagem, so Shen Yuan cannot compete against her. Ji Shuyu suddenly thought of something and looked towards Zhao Yang. Before Z's third brother left, he did not allow us to intervene in the Shen family matters, so if she wins, you are not allowed to help Shen Yuan. You are sure confident of her? Zhao Yang started to wave the fan. It is only that I also want to watch what kind of methods she will use. Seeing Ji Yushu giving a sigh of relief, Zhao Yang mercilessly poured cold water over him. But you better not be so assured. Ever since Third Z's plans are brought forward, the situation in the Ding capital has changed a lot. But there is one thing that did not change, and that is the ambitious heart of Prince Ding. He will definitely make use of the fatty meat that the Shen family sent right to the doorstep. No matter what, Shen Miao is still an unmarried female, and Prince Ding is not as stupid as Prince Yu. It is difficult for one power to contend with so many forces. This time Shen Zin's official hat would be lost, and once Shen Zin loses that hat, he half sighed and half lamented. For the eldest household of the Shen family, This is a disaster and he would not be able to protect those he want to protect. Ji Yushu's face slowly sank. Third Zi also mentioned that no matter what, the eldest household of the Shen family would not be able to escape the inevitable fate of death. Zhao Yang's hand stopped waving and his eyes flashed slightly, just similarly like the Zi family. On the second day, the weather was good and in the side courtyard of Rongjingtang, Tao Yuan took out a few set of clothes for Jing Chuchu to choose. Ever since the Jing family's husband and wife came over, the courtyard that old Shen Furen previous gave for the Jing siblings to stay at, became somewhat crowded. The Jin couple attained the next level of overbearingness, and directly and unreasonably occupied the next largest courtyard other than old Shen Furen's. Other than that, they kept on ordering Rongjingtang servants everywhere. If one did not know, one would think that it was the Jing couple who was staying in Rongjingtang and not old Shen Furen. Jing Chuchu sat in front of the table and carefully drew her eyebrows in front of the bronze mirror. She was very serious with each stroke and brush. Her lips had a touch of rouge on them and there was not even a strain of misplaced hair on her head. She apparently dressed up very carefully. That moon-white-colored piece, Jing Chuchu said. The moon-white-colored robes were plain but they could better portray Jing Chuchu's delicate and pitiful charms. Today was the day that she would be meeting up with Sun Kainan, and whether he would be obsessed with her would depended on these moments. Perhaps it was the evilness of a female's vanity or perhaps she really had some affections for Sun Kainan. She obviously knew that it was extremely dangerous to meet up with Sun Kainan at the moment, but she still wanted to try. Tao Yuan put away the rest of the clothes when someone pushed the doors open and came in. It was Jing Furen. When Jing Furen saw Jing Chuchu dressed up as such, she was suspicious. Chuchu, are you going out? Want to go out to buy some jewelry? Jing Chuchu said, in the future one will become the young Furen of the Shen family's second household, and one cannot keep wearing those old jewelry as one will be viewed lightly by others. It should be as so. Jing Furen said. Anyways, the money that Jing Chuchu spent on jewelry was all coming out from the common fund. These days Jing Furen gained a lot from it. Jing Furen said, how can you go alone? I will go with you. No. Jing Chuchu quickly refused. Jing Furen was puzzled. Why not? I have agreed to go together with the Yi family's young lady. Jing Chuchu tugged Jing Furen's hands. In the future at the Ding capital, one must build good relations with these young ladies. Mother better not go as Yi young lady do not like to see strangers. You know that these noble young ladies' temperaments are somewhat weird. Jing Furen was somewhat unsatisfied. What noble young ladies? What a big deal. In the future you will also be an official's Furen. Forget it. Since you want to build up good relations then go and bring more guards out. No need. Jing Chuchu declined. The Yi family has many guards. How would it look like if I bring more over? Mother, do not care about it and wait for my return with jewelries for you. Finishing, she continued to draw her eyebrows. Jing Furen could only give up. It was only when she went out of the residence and onto the horse carriage, that Jing Chuchu became somewhat nervous and asked Tao Yuan, the tavern that you choose, is it reliable? Young lady do not need to worry. Tao Yuan said, the tavern is very far away and remote. Usually there are very little people who would go there, thus when one wear a veiled bamboo hat to cover the face, no one would be able to recognize anyone. It was only then that Jing Chuchu calmed down. The horse carriage passed by the southern city and finally stopped at a remote alley. Jing Chuchu put on the bamboo hat and also the veil before letting Tao Yuan escort her to the tavern. Even though Jing Chuchu often toured around with gentlemen in Suzhou, her current status was different now. Even though the people of Mingqi were open-minded, but it was still not a small charge when a female with an engagement meet up privately with other males. There were only 2 floors in that tavern and true to Tao Yuan's words, it was generally remote and deserted as there were only a few crowds of 2s and 3s present. They did not pay any attention to her when she came in. Tao Yuan gave the cashier a tael of silver and smiled. Shopkeeper, "Where is the room that was reserved yesterday?" The shopkeeper quickly instructed the shop assistant to bring Jing Chuchu over. The guest room was located at the end of the second floor and the attic was made of wood. Tao Yuan thanked the shop assistant. Once they entered the room, Jing Chuchu took off the veil and bamboo hat in a hurry. "It is so stuffy. Young lady should rest first and drink some tea," Tao Yuan said. "One think that gentleman's son is arriving. Come over and tidy up my hair." Jing Chuchu fiddled with herself as she looked at the copper mirror. One wore the veil the entire journey and it had messed up one's hair. "Young lady look very good," Tao Yuan complimented, "and is especially beautiful today." As they were speaking, the door squeaked open, which made Jing Chuchu and Tao Yuan surprised for a moment before they heard a familiar voice. "Chuchu, it is really you." Sun Kainan stood at the doors and his eyes were eagerly looking at Jing Chuchu. In a moment, Jing Chuchu's face became red and she gave a look at Tao Yuan. "Withdraw." "All right." Tao Yuan smiled. "May gentleman's son and young lady talk. This servant will guard outside the door and not let others come in." The words said seemed to be suggesting something. Jing Chuchu lowered her head as Tao Yuan closed the doors behind her. Sun Kainan took 2 steps forward and called out, "Chuchu." Jing Chuchu hesitated for a moment before looking up. Her eyes seemed to be filled with tears. Half was due to melancholy and half was due to regret. If Shen Miao was fortunate to be present at the moment, she would also admire Jing Chuchu's ability to portray the realism of the act. Sun Kainan walked to Jing Chuchu and said softly, "Chuchu, the matter of marriage between you and Shen Yuan, is it true?" Jing Chuchu paused before nodding her head. "You." It was as if Sun Kainan had suffered a huge blow and took 2 steps back. When Jing Chuchu saw this, her eyes reddened and she timidly said, "You are angry?" "No." Sun Kainan paused before suddenly stroking Jing Chuchu's face. He said, "I have heard of the matter and it was Shen Yuan who forced himself onto you. It is you that do not have any other choice other than marrying him. I do not blame you or am angry with you." Hearing this, Jing Chuchu lowered her head but no one saw the trace of elation in his eyes. Shen Kainan must have truly liked her that even if she was about to marry to Shen Yuan, he was still reluctant to blame her. "Actually," Jing Chuchu turned her head, "that day second Biao older brother did not touch me. It is just that under that circumstances it was difficult to explain to everyone." She lowered her head, "Gentleman's son, actually I am still of perfect condition." Actually nothing happened on that day between Jing Chuchu and Shen Yuan. It was just that when that hug was seen by everyone, it could not be made clear. Afterwards Jing Chuchu found someone to take a look at her and came to be aware that she was still a virgin. It was just that Shen Yuan and old Shen Furen were not aware of this, thus she did not speak about it, else when old Shen Furen and Shen Yuan knew of the matter, they would definitely make a big issue out of it. The situation was however quite different when she said it to Sun Kainan. Men would always hope that their women were innocent, and if Jing Chuchu and Shen Yuan really had something going on, there would be a knot in Sun Kainan's heart. However, if there was nothing going on, then in Sun Kainan's eyes Jing Chuchu would become even more pitiful. Sure enough, when Sun Kainan heard those words, he was shocked. "What?" Jing Chuchu raised her head and said tearfully, "One would give one's female's body to the person one loves. It is just a misunderstanding between second Biao older brother and me, but there will be no way out in the future. It can be said that gentleman's son and I had met too late." "Is gentleman's son disgusted with me?" With a pull, Sun Kainan embraced Jing Chuchu and comforted in a warm voice, "How could I be disgusted with you? I am delighted with you. My heart ache for you and like you." Sun Kainan's eyes were flashing in ecstasy. He initially thought that Jing Chuchu's innocence was given to Shen Yuan, and one would not be able to take back the investment by sleeping with Jing Chuchu once. Who knew that Jing Chuchu was still an innocent female? This was very surprising for him. When Jing Chuchu was embraced by Sun Kainan, She pretended to struggle for a little before not moving. She let Sun Kainan hug her and slowly untie her robes. Coincidentally, downstairs, someone was riding a horse to the front of the tavern and handed the horse over to the shop assistant outside. He walked in and stopped at the front of the cashier before familiarly giving a tail over and walked up himself. It was at that moment when the shop assistant saw him. He then shouted, "Gentlemen." The person who turned back was not other but Shen Yuan. "What is the matter?" Shen Yuan asked. The shop assistant quickly shook his head and throttled down below with his towel. In the short moment when he passed him, Shen Yuan could clearly hear the shop assistant mumbling, "It is so pitiful. Everyone under the sun know that one has worn a green hat." Shen Yuan's steps stopped, and when he looked down, he saw that the gazes of the diners below seemed to be on him as if they were pointing him out. Shen Yuan's expression slowly darkened. This was a tavern that he frequently visited, and when he had to pass information to Fu Ziyuyi's people, it would happen here. There was a total of 9 princes in the Ding capital, and relationships were especially tangled and complicated. As Prince Ding has hidden himself the deepest, his people were especially careful. Every time when Shen Yuan came over, he was very careful, and occasionally he would change his clothes. There was no one that knew him here, but why was the current situation somewhat strange? He shook his head but went up to the second floor without consulting anyone, as that was the place where he would meet up with Fu Ziyuyi's people. But when he reached the last room, he saw for the first time a familiar person. When Tao Yuan saw him, she jumped in shock. Shen Yuan's heart sank. Tao Yuan was Jing Chuchu's maid. Why was she here? Could it be? He stepped forward to walk over. Tao Yuan could not dodge in time before Shen Yuan kicked open the doors of the room. One only saw that in the spacious guest room there were 2 overlapping persons on the couch with clothes all thrown around on the floor. Tao Yuan exclaimed, "Young lady, second young master has come." One person on the bed suddenly sat up and half of the fair body was exposed. It was Jing Chuchu. She looked at Shen Yuan at a loss and said, Second Biao older brother." Shen Yuan looked at her coldly and the other person on the couch. Sun Kainan slowly woke up. He sat up, and since he was spoiled as he grew up, when his lingering moment with Jing Chuchu was interrupted, he was very angry. "Who are you?" "Second Biao older brother." Jing Chuchu recovered to her senses in a moment and pointed to Sun Kainan. "Second Biao older brother, it is he who forced onto me and I was not willing." "Slut." Sun Kainan sneered and gave Jing Chuchu a slap. "Obviously it was you who invited me." Impatiently, "Why now turn your back?" "Gentleman son." Tao Yuan rushed over and said in indignation, "How could you treat young lady as such? Why do you want to do this to young lady? Could it be to let our second young master wear a green hat, be a cuckold? You absolutely want to go against second young master." In the blanket of chaos, no one actually noticed that Tao Yuan's words were not right. Sun Kainan sneered, "Second young master?" He sized Shen Yuan up by looking at him from top to bottom before smiling arrogantly. "Correct. I want to let your second young master wear a green hat. How about it?" "Shen Yuan, you still have not tasted this fiancé of yours. The taste of a virgin is actually not bad." You are talking nonsense." Tao Yuan was surprised. "Our young lady, you still do not know?" Sun Kainan looked at Shen Yuan exaggeratedly. "It is not surprising that you were played at the palm of a female. But second Shen young master, even though you have great ability in court, your woman was still slept by me. Moreover, you still have to marry her, so how is the feeling of picking up used shoes?" The veins on Shen Yuan's forehead were throbbing, and he finally took 2 steps forward and with a punch, knocked Sun Kainan onto the ground. "You dare to hit me?" Sun Kainan was used to be spoiled and pounced onto Shen Yuan without a second word. Both of them had no martial arts background and could only deal punches to one another. Sun Kainan was a little taller and stronger than Shen Yuan, so Shen Yuan was gradually at a disadvantage and was being pushed down by Sun Kainan as he hit him. "Scoundrel!" Tao Yuan rushed over and helped Shen Yuan by clinging to Sun Kainan from behind. Shen Yuan took advantage of the gap and freed his hands when he felt something cold in them. As he was hit very hard, He did not think anymore as he pushed that thing to the front. A kai sound was heard. That sound was particularly long and the noises around seemed to have silenced, until Tao Yuan screamed and Ging Chuchu's frenetic face appeared in front. Shen Yuan looked down and saw that there was a silver handle in his hands, and now only the knife handle was seen. As for the rest of the blade, it had disappeared into Sun Kainan lower abdomen. Large pieces of blood flowers bloomed. Sun Kainan fell face upwards,